Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our thriving moment. Yes, if your child's feeding difficulty is something that looks strange to you, your child is refusing food each time you want to give your child food or when it is meal time, it looks as if you are frustrated, then this section is for you. Today, I'll be showing you how to avoid some common mistakes feeding children that has difficulty in terms of swallowing, in terms of chewing. I'll be bringing to our knowledge the things that we need to do. Oh yes, yes. Most of the times it feels as if, why am I going through this? When it is meal time, it looks as if nothing is happening. You are frustrated. I will tell you for free that it is always good for you to be in a place where you can understand what is going on in terms of feeding. Before I go on, I want to share a brief story on how I made some mistake, how this mistake came about, and I was able to scale through. I realized some things that actually helped me in terms of feeding my daughter. Looking back, I realized that my daughter could not even swallow. For good 8 years, we were struggling. You know, mistakes that I made during those periods, I later realized that if I knew better, these are the things I would have done. This is what I'm bringing to us tonight. So that when we understand what we need to put in place, we are going to avoid this common mistake. And once I corrected those mistakes, feeding became easier and more structured. Yes. When we talk about feeding, you see that what they call it, that talk. Will I say a saying that we normally say that good food is better than medicine? You understand? We're talking about when you understand the psychology of food, then you will be rest assured that I need to structure the way I see my child feed. You need to structure it. So today is not just another section that you will just come and listen, but it's a section that I'm bringing to you with practical tips that you can start using immediately. So today I'll be talking about 3 common feeding mistakes that we as parents we make. I have made them, I've seen parents made them. Working with parents over the years, I've discovered that this is a very serious problem. And why this mistake affects your child, I'm going to tell us. And also, I'm going to tell us what you should do instead when you see things like this. So, I would like us to start by seeing a difference on how feeding goes in our various homes. We are going to be seeing difference on how feeding goes in our various homes. Let's start with the first mistake that we need to avoid. You see, sometimes most of us we focus only on what our children like, what they eat. Yes, instead of us to focus on how they eat. Hear this again. Most of us we focus on what our children eat, more on what they eat, rather than how they eat. Many parents they push food. They want to push food down their children's throats. Like they will say, you need to eat more. You need to finish this food. Yes, because this is coming from a place of love. Yes, we want to show them that we care. But instead of us to focus on how they feed, we are focusing on what and what they eat. I've seen many parents, they will ask, please, which food do you think is good for my child to eat? They even go on Facebook, randomly they begin to ask. Instead of them to understand how their child feeds. And do you know what happened? This will begin to create pressure. When you push your child to eat, there's every tendency that you are creating pressure. And do you know what pressure does? Pressure oftentimes it leads to what? Resistance. Your child will begin to form resistance in terms of feeding. And what comes in? Frustration. So what one thing that you need to do is you need to avoid this one thing. What is that one thing? Stop focusing on what your child should eat. Rather, focus on how they eat. What will you do? You will create a calm and comfortable feeding experience for your child. Not just the amount of food. I know what I'm saying because over the years, I've seen people, they just feed anyhow, they feed their children. You know, these children, they are children that likes routine. Because I've seen parents, they just treat these children as if they are nobody. Sometimes, even before we bring the food, we already condemn ourselves. He might not eat. I don't know the one to try. Even you using a negative statement might affect your child to eat or not to eat. So one of the mistake I am talking about is one of the mistake that me myself I have made. Yes, I have made it. I was focusing on what she will eat. Oh, I need my child to eat rice. I need my child to eat beans. I need my child to this. I forgot to understand how my child should feed. What happened? Now, when I look back, I realized that those common mistakes that I made were because I was ignorant. It is not because I did not care. So also you care so much that you want your child to feed. But because we don't fully understand what is going on, I was in that shoe. And the moment we can correct these things, this mistake, we'll see how feeding will become easier and better for us and even our children. I've talked about one common mistake, which I said many parents they try to push. Eat more, finish your food. Eat more, finish your food. That is abuse. I'm not saying you should not encourage your child to eat, but rather begin to understand. You see, you have to take this aspect of your routine. You understand? You have to take it very seriously. You have to treat it like every other thing. You know, most at times we concentrate when we want to do therapy, but we forget to concentrate when we want to feed our children. Yes, rather we just want them to just eat, 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 eat. Another mistake, number two mistake is we don't have a consistent routine. Number two, not having a consistent routine. You know, feeding happens at different times, in different ways, depending on the day. Get this right. Second mistake is that we don't have a consistent routine. You know, every time I talk to parents, I will tell them be consistent in what you are doing because you are building something. If you feed your child anyhow, your child will adapt to that anyhowness and frustration will set in. You can't feed a child in an organized setting and that child will not reciprocate in an organized way. I said, second mistake is not having a consistent feeding routine. Most of the times when I teach, I talk about, oh, please journal this thing down, come to class, come to listen. You are doing what? You are building a routine for yourself. And until you are organized, that is when you will be able to organize or create a routine for your child. Do you know why? Children that have feeding difficulties, they need predictability. That is what they need. And that is the truth. We should stop asking people, asking everybody on social media, anywhere we get to, please, can you tell me what I should feed my child with? If you like, get the best food. Here, you will just be wasting your money. You will try this, your child will not eat. You will try this, your child will not eat. All these things are things that we need to learn. Children with feeding difficulties, they respond best when a place or a team is structured. That is why I said that they need predictability. So, to avoid this mistake, what should you do? Create a simple and consistent feeding structure. What did I say again? Create a consistent, simple one, not too ambiguous. Just simple, and be consistent with it. Structure your child to get used to it. Structure your child to get used to it. How do you do this? You can't just do this without you, first of all, starting small. Where you are, you can tell yourself, today in the afternoon, this is what, or this is the time I want to feed my child. Make the place very clean. Arrange what and what, the cutleries, everything you want to use for your child. Because you know why? Their system is taking note of what you are doing. Most of the times we just feel that these children, they don't have feelings. We think, oh, we need to do everything for them. Some people will ask, what if my child cannot eat by himself? What if my child cannot swallow? Yes, you need to start where you are before you can move to the next step. Because the problem that we have, actually, I was once there, is this problem of quick fix. I know there's some people here that might be saying, this is not what I want. This is not what I want. I just want, I've seen someone come to me and tell me that what I actually want is how my child can start chewing. My child just love smoothies, or my child like food that are blended. I now ask, do you understand your child feeding style? Because it's not all about, oh, my child cannot eat this, my child does not need this. There's a way. And until you see system that works, you will continue to argue. You will continue to say, this is what I know. I don't want my perspective to be challenged. Oh, yes, we have seen it countless times. The third mistake I will talk about is understanding food refusal. You need to understand it. Because I know it is very easy for you to think my child is just being difficult. This child is stubborn. He doesn't want to open his mouth. I don't even know what to do. Because in reality, food refusal is communication. Your child is communicating something. You need to understand that. When your child don't want to take food from you, you see your child turning their face away, you see them not opening their mouth, you see them just being lazy, then your child is communicating something to you. Note this, if you don't take anything from this class today, food refusal is communication. Yes, it could be one, sensory issues. Do you know that there are some children that have feeding difficulties, that have sensory issues? There are some children that don't like food that has lump inside their food. Yes. Oh, yes. There are some children that have difficulties or discomfort. It might be that they are overwhelmed. It might be that they are tired. Do you take time to actually look at what is my child communicating to me? What can you now do to avoid this mistake? Because that is what we are looking at today. How to avoid common feeding mistakes in children with feeding difficulties. You see, when we talk about you understanding food refusal, we want you to start what? Avoiding these mistakes. You understand? Avoiding this mistake of food refusal. You need to start observing what your child is refusing, why your child is refusing food, not just reacting to it. Yes, you need to observe why. That is why you need concentration. Feeding is not something you just do anyhow. The food is there, yeah, bring it, open your mouth, you start giving. Yes, it's time. You didn't take time to make the environment enticing. When we say parenting is work itself, yes, it is. You know, a typical child, the way you care for a typical child, neurotypical child, that is how you care for a neurodivergent child. What do I mean? The amount of care, you know, the way you dress your child, the way you take, oh, your food is there, you set everything for them on the dining. Same thing for your child that have difficulty in feeding. Oh yes. So to avoid this, I just said start observing why your child is refusing food. My daughter Desire, it took us 8 good years to understand that she has tonsillitis, recurrent tonsillitis, difficult in swallowing. There's sore inflammation in her trachea. She could not swallow. We will have to put the food by the side of her mouth and wait. So frustrating. We started observing. We started checking. There are some times that you need to take these children so that they will be checked. When you understand these things, feeding will become easy for you. Some people will say, my child is not gaining weight. I don't know what to do. You have to start from the fundamental. Yes, I don't want to take our time today because what I'm teaching today is something that I believe resonates with us, but we need to do it differently. So to avoid these mistakes, what are we going to do? Reduce pressure during feeding. Don't pressurize your child. If your child takes 1 or 2 spoons, be okay. Because what you are doing, you are trying to observe, you are trying to understand your child. Reduce pressure during feeding. Don't force food down your child's throat. Another thing that you will need to do if your child takes 1 spoon, keep feeding consistently. Be consistent. I know we are worried, but you know when you get this thing, it might take you some time, but when you get it right, you are building your child's system. You are making your child to be used to how they should eat or how they should feed. Pay attention to your child's signal. It's not every time you see them not taking food, you become frustrated and you just start announcing. No, there's something, they are communicating something. And sometimes when we get maybe advice from people. We just want to try and try and try and try, and we are changing. We don't stay in a thing for some time. I bet you have been there. These simple changes that we are talking about can make a very big difference. Yes, they can make it. See, it's not all about, I still say it. I've seen people that will say, give your child a golden more, you have to add more milk. Do you know if your child is lactose intolerant? You see, when you know all these things, despite the fact that it will give you a good starting point, many parents still struggle with how to apply this consistently in real life. We still struggle. Okay, this thing that I'm talking about, coach, this thing you are talking about, how do we apply it? Do you know that I've created a feeding clarity program? Yes, it's a solution to all these feeding problems that we're talking about. Feeding clarity. See, until you understand that, for good 8 years, I was frustrated. But the moment I figure it out that what my child needs is me understanding her feeding style, I was still guessing. I was still guessing. Some people will say, how do I actually understand this? I created a feeding clarity program. You will understand your child's feeding pattern. Yes. My course that is coming up is titled Understanding Your Child's your child's feeding style. And I have a guide called Understanding Feeding Guide and a workbook. When you use them together, you will begin to understand why children that have feeding difficulties are not there to frustrate us. Yes, communication is key. Thank you for that. You have to build a structure that works for your child. A structure that works for your child. That was what I did. See, when you understand that, and you see, it's not all about you coming to here and you're not putting it into practice. Nothing will work. Nothing will work. I'm just being frank. In my years of coaching parents, I discovered that most of the things that we see in this parenting journey, or that we go through in this journey, are things that would have just been like a walk away. But because of the way we magnify it, understanding your child feeding style is the best thing that will ever happen to you if you want to overcome feeding difficulty. Yes. And you know one thing, many of us don't want to be accountable. We don't want to be discipled. We don't want to be held accountable. Yes. We just want to do it our own way. When we talk about structure, we are talking about you following a particular way of doing things. And that structure, you can repeat it over and over and over and over again, and it becomes part of you. Yes. In that feeding clarity program, I am guiding parents to know exactly what they should do during feeding challenges. Because you know why? Most of these children with additional needs, they have feeding challenges. What are you then to do so that you can start seeing results? I've come to see some children, when you look at them, you would think as if they have kwachoko. Sorry to say, there are underlying things that we ought to have checked. That is why I'm happy for parents that their children are still maybe 2 years, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, even to the age of 15, 16. And you are hearing this message now because most of us, we didn't hear this. It is time for you to start. Be in a place. I don't know how to say this more. I've seen people come to my inbox and say, "Oh, I don't have money." I said, "Look for money." Do you know why? Knowledge will help you scale through things that are supposed to give you problem even in future. People come for webinar like this, they come for section like this. At the end of the day, they don't do anything with it. Oh, powerful section. Oh, yes, it's good. I have seen people use food to reverse cerebral palsy. I have seen people use food to reverse autism. Yes. It is not all about, oh, it is rice you will give, it is beans you will give. If you understand how your child feeds, then your problem is half solved. Then you now start talking about what and what should I be giving. I don't know if someone is following me now. In our free class that we did the last time, we gave out free checklist. Oh, yes. And I'm doing a refresher of that course or of that training again on Wednesday, the 22nd. Oh, yes, I'm doing a refresher. Why am I doing a refresher? Because I want us to get this. Because when I was teaching, I saw that people were joining and some people might have missed out. So I don't have any choice than to say, this course was purposely created for people like this. You might have overcome this feeding aspect. But do you know that if you understand your child feeding style, it might help you in other areas of your life? So we tell you, yeah, my child can eat everything. I don't need the course. It's not all about your child can eat everything. How are you administering that food to your child? How are you? I've seen some children, maybe they didn't brush their mouth very well. You know, tongue harbors most of the things that makes our mouth to have odor. Oh, thank you for that. Thank you for flashing that. Yes. You know, trying to clean our children's mouth, it's a lot. But there's a way. There's a way. Even children, typical children, parenting them is still not as easy as we think. Sometimes we wish how wish our children are like every other child. By the grace of God, I have neurotypical children and a neurodivergent child or a child with cerebral palsy. I will not say caring for my daughter is harder than caring for the rest. I place them together and I give priority to all of them. I'm still talking about knowing exactly what to do. When we talk about structure, building a structure that works for your child. Somebody came to meet me and said, I want you to take me on one-on-one section. I said, wow, that is a lot. I said, my free courses that I teach, I tend to bring it down as much as possible. But the issue we are having it, are people actually putting this into practice? Nobody's coming to do it for you. Yes. Nobody's coming to do it for you. Most of us, I know, we are tired. We are tired of guessing food. We just want, tell me what the food that my child will eat that will make my child begin to add weight. Some of us has even gone as far as adding some things that are not supposed to be in our children's system. Do you actually understand your child's feeding style? I don't know how to put this. There's what we call access. Access does not just come to people that are seated in a place. Your child needs you to understand how he or she feeds. Yes, that's the truth of the matter. We can't overemphasize this at all. We can't. I have seen people, all what they want is just tell me the food. Do you know that I can begin to name food, but that was not what God called me for. Is to teach people the fundamentals on how this journey can be easy for all of us. And when that topic came, understanding your child's feeding style, I said, yes, I remember how I struggled. My child will eat, she will bring the food out. Sometimes I will have to open her mouth and say, what is inside your throat? What is inside your throat that you cannot swallow? Her skin were flaky, very thin, as if it wants to tear. I will just be looking at my daughter. Everybody will be eating. She's not eating. The day my daughter managed to eat a grain of, will I call it I don't know how to even say it. Will I say a grain of rice? The way I shouted when people came, I could not even say my daughter of 5 years has not been eating well. Sometimes I would say maybe that is why she's not tall. I would say that like the brother, but I discovered that me myself I'm not that tall. You understand? But I can tell you for free that when I got it right, and thank God, this is just the plain truth. I have never used special food for my daughter. I have never. That is why I said I made some mistakes. Because I was just doing it like that. I will force today, I will force tomorrow, and all that. But the day I got it right, all the food that the brothers and myself and my husband were eating, that is the food, the same food I use in caring for my daughter Desire. I have never. God is my witness that they will now say it's like this, it's like that. That is why I said, if you understand your child feeding style, I was talking about some sensory issues. I was talking about some children, maybe because of how they are built, their physiology is, they are not able to swallow. Then they will say maybe they need peg tube, or they need to maybe fix a rig for them. Yes, except in that condition when your child has been diagnosed that, oh, this child cannot swallow. And sometimes, do you know that when we leave our children, for them not taking anything in their mouth through their mouth, their windpipe can even become very tight and thin, and it's not stretching, because as they grow, it's supposed to be opening small, 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 like this. Before you know, they will tell you your child cannot swallow, and you can't leave the child like that. They will say, oh, they need to fix a tube. So before it gets to that place, and before you, if your child is not feeding well, it will show. It will show. Okay, will you now tell me? So somebody said my child can eat all food, but the food needs to be blended. I said, that should not be a problem. Oh, do you know that your child can still eat solid food? Do you believe that your child can still eat solid food if you understand how your child feeds? I said, I'll be teaching some group of people. Come on the 24th of this month. It's a paid class. I said, come and listen and put it into practice. I bet you, as far as your child does not have any issue in terms of swallowing, you will come out with results. I said, but listen, it is not a quick fix, so you will do the work. But I will show you, I will guide you step by step. I said, it's only solution I bring. Because in my years of parenting my daughter, I saw so many things. Sometimes I would tell myself, if I had known better, I would have done this. Yes, if I had known better, I would have done this. Let me tell you this, because I don't want to leave us in a state where we begin to ask ourselves, okay, what's next? When God told me to create Thrive Beyond Cerebral Palsy Academy, it was like, this vision is too big. I don't even understand what you're talking about. He said there are so many parents out there, because of the limiting belief they have about themselves and this journey, their child or their children will not thrive. So you have to tell them the truth. Tell them the truth. Some people will say, I know all these things, but how many of these things? We are overwhelmed with work. Some we will still say, I need to go to work because I need to pay bills. Every time I talk about structure, we are here to hold. Thank you very much. We are here to hold your hand. I don't know how to put this. By the grace of God, I've been doing free trainings, I've been doing paid trainings. And God said, I am raising parents. I am raising parents of children with additional needs that will stand the test of time and change the perspective of parenting children with additional needs. Yes. Parents that are doing exploit, people will see them. Have you not seen some people, just like me? I have a child that has additional needs. But there's this strength because I have told myself that caring for my child should not be only what I am known for. Yes, you need to leave that space. Forget every other thing that anybody is telling you. Until you get to that stage where you tell yourself, I am much more, your child will not try. You see this feeding problem that I'm talking about? I learned it in a hard way. And I can tell you how frustrating it is. When you want to take your child out, you'll be feeling inside of you that, oh, what will people say? It looks as if I'm not feeding my child well. Some people will even put it in the head of, put it on top of the economy. You know how the economy is now. We have not even finished eating. Do you know that if you feed your child very well, even those medications that we talk about, your child does not need them? Or have you not known that those medications, they are not permanent, they don't cure cerebral palsy? We know all these things. It's just for management, but food, knowing the right way to feed your child can help your child live as healthy as possible. It will revive your child's cells. Yes. You will give your child food, your child will throw it out. Sometimes we advise, take your child so that they can look at your child. Nobody wants to go. We just want miracle. I don't understand. I'm not saying there's no miracle. Before God will bring miracle, he will look at you and say, the little I've entrusted in your hand, what have you done with it? Will this person even carry my word to the public to let them know that I've done this for them? Yes, he will examine you first. He will examine you first. Let's not be deceived. Every time I talk about the word of God, I tell people, I say, God will not change for us. We need to change our ways for God if we actually want results. Statistics have shown scientifically that children that are well fed, when we talk about well fed, we're not talking about you forcing food in your child's throat, into your child's throat. No. We're talking about you understanding the style on how to feed your child. Yes, these mistakes are mistakes that you need to avoid. Don't assume that your child does not want to eat, it is stubbornness, or your child is just being difficult. Oh, this my child, you just want to stress me. Yes, as people will say, my child just want to. It's like they send this child to come and drain me. Yes, we make statements like that. That is not the reality. The reality is that this knowledge where you are at the moment is the knowledge that you have. You need to move further than that. I have seen somebody that told me, Ma, if you can just tell me what my child can be eating. I said, but there are this thing everywhere now. Information everywhere. She said no. He said somebody said I should go and meet you because the person knew your daughter, how skinny your daughter was. And now people can see her and say, oh, Desire is a big girl now. It was even to my own amazement. If anybody had told me that my daughter will have flesh or will have muscle the way she has now, I will not believe it. But did I do anything special? Did I give her special food? I'm putting it to you, if your child does not have any feeding medical issues, then you see that course, understanding your child feeding style, you don't need to miss it. If he wants you to sell your weave-on, sell it and get knowledge. You know why? Your child needs you to become that which God has destined your child to be. Some of us, we have lost trust, even in visiting the hospital. We have lost trust, even in listening to people. Because why? We have been trying everything and it looks as if it's not working. But I believe Thrive Beyond Cerebral Palsy Academy will be your last bus stop. Yes, we want people who will parent their additional needs intentionally. Yes, that is why I say family is a business. Family is a business. Is a serious business. The way you wake up in the morning and go to your business to look for money, that is the way you ought to carry your family up on top of your head. Some people will say, when will I have time to do all those things? There's a way. People that are doing it, they also have 24 hours, just like every one of us. If you understand your child feeding style, I bet you there are so many things that you don't need to run after. There are so many things that you don't need to run after. We have simple feeding plan. We can tailor it according to your child needs. Yes, we can do that. Because you know why? When we do our programs, we are not just doing it for you to attend. We follow up. And that is the only way you can get results. We put work into this. We put time into this. You know why? We want to see children that has difficulty in feeding begin to feed even themselves. Even if your child is taking only what they call it, smoothies, blended food, there's a way you can help your child to start chewing. It all depends on us if we are actually ready. I have seen a child that says, I don't like, though the child is non-verbal, but anytime they are bringing food like yam, he doesn't want it. They started match, they will match it, and they will give it to me because they don't want to be consistent in just feeding one food. And I told them, I said, if your child refuses to take yam as a whole, because that will help him to chew a bit, I said, why not just look for something like meat? Just give it to him to hold. Even if he cannot eat it, put it in his mouth. You will see. Because you know why? It is something that needs to be chewed. He will start chewing it. It is natural. It is natural. And they started doing it. They started doing different things. I brought out the meal plan. And before you know, the child started opening their mouth. And they were able to brush, even to brush the child's mouth was difficult because he doesn't open his mouth. Not that he's being peg fed. Not that he has any tube. See, but you cannot just stay and be looking at your child like this. There is a way. Know that even the understanding your child's feeding plan that we are talking about is not that you are just attending a class. So you are living with something you can start using immediately. And except you start using it, results will not come. What we bring is just solution. We don't teach to convince you. We teach to tell you the reality. Yes. I come here every Monday for thriving moments because I want people to be fed with the right resources. Yes. I will end with this. A simple feeding plan that you can use consistently is better than an ambiguous kind of plan that you will still be guessing yourself about. Hear this again. A simple feeding plan that you can use consistently is better than an ambiguous plan that will still keep you guessing. That is why we attend programs and we don't put them into work. Yes. I want to encourage you. Watch out for our flyer. We are doing a refresher course, a refresher training on Wednesday. Yes. From knowledge to action, a practical feeding and progress plan for your child, so that you begin to understand how your child needs to be fed. And the paid program is understanding your child feeding style. What will that one do for you? Step by step guide. You understand why your child does not want to eat another food. You will understand the kind of food that you will give your child will eat. And this one is not something that you will begin to say, I'm guessing. No, you will see the result because it is tested and trusted. And the better part of it is that it is not even on animal it was tested on. It was tested on my daughter. Yes. My daughter did not just turn out to be like this. Work was put into it. Structure was put into it. And what are we saying? We're just saying commit yourself to a subsidized price of 10,000 naira. We have our mentorship program coming up on the 2nd of May. Some people are there, they are graduating very soon. We have our 1 year academy where we work with parents and children. We also do specialized kind of consultancy. Oh, this is what I want to work with my child part-time. Oh, I don't want to be in a group where everybody is. I want to be. We work with you. Yes, it is all encompassing. That is what God has called us to do. I don't know if we have questions to ask before we round up today. You can put it in the comment section and we'll answer it by God's grace. Yeah, if there are questions. I can't see any question. I think you have been blessed tonight. Yeah, I think we have been blessed tonight. Thank you everyone for coming. Please, as you feed your child, maybe some of us have finished feeding our child today. From tomorrow, look at your child. Understand, why is my child refusing food? Just look at it. If you have questions after now, you can still send to me. My number is 07038943857, or you can reach me on +4477 060708117. Yes. Thank you very much for attending to this section. Thank you for committing yourself to caring for your child. Thank you for becoming who God wants you to be as a parent, aside caregiving. And thank you for showing up always. Your labor of love, just like I always say, God will never waste your pain. Thank you, and see you again next week. Next week promises to be a very exciting. It's one that you've not seen before, so get ready. Just get ready. Even if you will not do anything, just be saving your data for next week Monday. It promises to be very, very interesting. Thank you very much, and God bless. See you. Bye bye.